विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतम् पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्री गुरुमूर्तये नमः श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये दूर्वादलद्युतितनुं तरुणाब्जनेत्रं हेमाम्बरं वरविभूषणभूषिताङ्गं कन्दर्पकोटिकमनीयकिशोरमूर्तिं पूर्तिं मनोरथभुवां भज जानकीशम्. All right, just give me 1 second. I need to filter out the background noise. All right, I'm sharing my screen now. All right. Okay. So till last time we had completed till Chaupai Doha block number 57. So what is the katha going on thus far? We have Shivji and Parvatiji in the form of Satiji, of course, in a previous birth. And we had Shivji go to the ashram of Agastya Muni. Agastya tells him the story of the Ramayana, and Shivji enthralls him with the bhakti of Sri Ram. And at that very time, when the two are talking of a Ramayana that has happened many eons earlier, in the current eon in which Shivji and Agastya Muni were talking to each other, suddenly, when Shivji and Satiji are traveling back to Kailasa, they see from atop the Ramayana unfolding below them, in which Ram, Lakshman, and Sita ji are traveling through the forest. Ravana comes, the golden deer incident happens, Sita is taken away, and Ram is in great viraha or sorrow or pangs of separation. And Sati questions as to why is a person who is, Brahman himself personified, expressing sorrow in such a manner. Shivji tries to explain things to her, she's not convinced. She goes to kind of test the situation for herself. And in that, Ram reveals to her his true self by not saying a word. He just says, "Oh, what are you doing here in this forest? And where is your husband Shivji? And I bow down to you." And that's it. He does not talk of her kapat. He does not talk of the fact that she's dressed up as Sita. And in Marathi, we say, "Melya hun melya sarka hone." It's worse than death. So Satiji feels so embarrassed that she's made a mistake. She's not been called out. She goes back to Shivji. Shivji also doesn't say a word. And then Goswami ji does what is called an Arthantaranyas. So he takes a very specific situation of the behavior of Sati and generalizes it with an Arthantaranyas, or a generalization, in which he says that milk that has inherent water in it, the two coexist and help each other out because they trust each other completely. But once there is some kind of sourness introduced in the milk in the form of a khatai, then this sourness results in the separation of the water and the milk itself goes sour. So our relationships are just like that. That's where we had stopped last time. So we now begin with with Chaupai Doha block number 58. And since the monsoon has started and we are in Jeshta, because we had an Adhik Mas this time, so it's not yet Ashad, we'll try and see if we can recite this in the Miyaki Malhar Dhun. हृदय सोचु समुझत निज करनी, चिंता मित जाय नहीं बरनी, कृपा सिंधु शिव परम गाधा, प्रगटन कहे मोर अपराधा, शंकर रुख अवलोकी भवानी, प्रभु मोहि तजेउ हृदय कुलानी, निज अघ समुझि न कछु कहि जाई, तपैयवाइव उर अधिकाई, सती स सोच जानी बृष केतु, कहीं कथा सुंदर सुख हेतु, बरनत पंथ विविध इतिहासा, विश्वनाथ पहुँचे कैलासा, तह पुनि शंभु समुझि पन आपन, बैठे बटतर करि कमलासन, शंकर सहज स्वरूप सम्हारा, लागी समाधि अखंड पारा, सती बसहि कैलास तब, अधिक सोचु मन माही, मरमुन को जान कछु, जुग सम दिवस सिराही. All right. So Hridaya Sochu Samujat Nija Karani, Chinta Amita Jai Nahi Barani. So because Satiji represents this continuous doubt and kapat, she still, I mean, she has realized her mistake, but she is not transformed. Remorse is there, but reformation has not yet happened. So Hridaya Sochu Samujata Nija Karani, in her heart, she is thinking of her own doings. Chinta Amita Jai Nahi Barani. And the sorrow or the continuous thoughts that are coming in a mind cannot be defined. So it is said that there is only a difference of a dot between chitta and chinta. The chitta burns the body and chinta burns the mind. So Sati is tormented because she's continuously thinking as to, what can be done to fix this. Krupa Sindhu Siva Parama Agatha Pragatana Kaheu Mora Aparatha. And she being Sati, I mean, she's not, as I said, some, mere mortal. She's a goddess in her own right. So she fully knows that Shivji is in the know, but he's not expressing. He is just keeping quiet. And that is troubling her more. Pragatana kaheu mora aparadha. Sankara rukha avaloki bhavani. Now, Bhavani Sati, realizing the way in which Shivji is reacting, Prabhu Moi Tajeu Hridaya Akulani. She understands that Shivji has given her up in his mind. So Shivji has not spoken a word to her saying, I am not going to, have any relations with you as husband and wife. He has not criticized her. He has just told her, do what you want, do your test, etc. But now he has just gone into Mauna Vrat, so to say, and Satiji has fully understood what's playing out in the mind of Shivji. Nija agha samujhina kachu kahi jai. She understands her own problems and doesn't know what to say. Tapai iva ura adhikai. And like a potter's kiln, where wo bhatti jo rehti hai. Tapai ava iva ura adhikai. So like the heat in a potter's kiln, her heart is burning with this heat. Sati hi sa socha jani brushaketu. And Shivji realizes the kind of torment and burning that Sati is going through. The concept of burning has slowly started coming into the picture, and we are now entering into the very poignant but beautiful territory of Sati Daha and the whole cycle of Sati being reborn as Parvati ji. So the first burning is the burning of her heart, like it's kept in a potter's kiln. Nija agha samujik na kachuk kahi jai, tapai ava iva ura adhikai. Sati hi sa socha jani brushaketu, kahi katha sundara sukha hetu. Shivji loves her deeply. He knows that she is tormented. And so he says, I'll regale her with a few beautiful stories, and starts talking to her and reciting beautiful stories. Bharanata Pantha Bibidha Itihasa. He talks of the various sects of worship. He talks of all kinds of histories that have happened thus far. Viswanatha Pahuche Kailasa. And thus chit-chatting with Satiji, the two of them reach Kailasa. Now, the great commentators on this particular Chaupai pass a remark saying, in this Itihasa, Ramayana is not included, because Shivji is in the know that she did not respect the Katha. When the Katha was being told to her, she had a doubt in her mind, and hence Shivji tells her everything but the Ramayana. So say the commentators. However, Ramayana is an Itihasa, but they put in their exegesis, they make this remark. So I thought I'll just share it over here. Viswanatha Pahuche Kailasa. Tahapuni Sambhu Samujipana Apana. And there Shivji then suddenly realized that I have taken a vow of not having any relations with Satiji. Baithe Batatara Kari Kamalasana. So he sits in a Padmasana. Now just again look at the beauty of Goswamiji's wording. You know, Padma, the Dma is difficult to pronounce. So he converts the Padma, lotus asan, into Kamalasana. Baithe Batatara Kari Kamalasan. So Shivji sits in his Padmasana pose below a banyan tree again at Kailasa and then goes into a meditative trance. Sankara Sahaja Sarupa Samhara. And then that's his natural form. You know, mortals have to do a lot of tapasya to reach that level of samadhi in which, you know, everything stops and you're in eternal bliss. But Shivji being Shivji, you know, once he wishes it, that is commanded by his body, and he instantly gets into samadhi. Sankara Sahaja Sarupa Samhara, because that is his natural swarupa. Lagi Samadhi Akhanda Apara. And he went into a state of continuous and eternal samadhi. So he is meditating, Sati is tormented, both of them are sitting in front of each other in Kailasa, and Sati doesn't know what to do because Shivji has regaled her with stories. He has not once accused her of anything, but now he's gone in his meditative trance. Sati basahi Kailasa tapa adhika sochu manamahi maramuna ko jana kachu jugasama divasa sirahi. And then Satiji then sat at Kailasa before Shivji, who's completely off her, and she's thinking to herself, and if you look from the outside, they were looking like a normal divine couple, you know, Sati and Shivji sitting on Kailasa. So no one understood the separation that had happened between them, apart from these two great gods and goddesses themselves. So Maramuna ko janu kachu jugasama divasa sarahi. Now this is also very interesting. एक एक दिन सती जी के लिए एक एक युग की तरह जा रहा था. But which time is this? Is this, you know, mortal time? Is this divine time? So 2 sessions back we had talked of, you know, the relativity of time itself. You know, 1,000 years of us is X of Brahma. Brahma's 1,000 years is X of a higher realm, etc. So within this relativity of time, even in that God time, which is much more than our time, for Satiji, that one day of God time was like an entire yoga. So this is so wonderful. What Goswamiji is saying is, if you are doing something without doubt, if you are engaged in something, then whatever hours you put into it, you will lose your sense of time. That is the condition of Shivji. He doesn't care whether it's a day or a yoga. But if you are in doubt, if you lack trust, if you have kapat, every day looks like an eon. So time expands and contracts depending on your state of mind. If you have nothing to worry, time just flies. If you have a lot of worries, time stretches. Then every day becomes living hell. And that is the situation of Satiji. Now, Sati being Sati, what she could have done is she could have gone into a meditative trance herself. But remember that she represents doubt. She has had her remorse. She is repenting in her heart, but the transformation has not happened. Okay, so now we move on to the next Doha Chaupai block, which is Doha Chaupai block number, Chaupai Doha block number 59. And here we enter the cycle of Daksha Prajapati, his sacrifice, etc. Again, as I said, a very beautiful story. Let's see how we manage it, because I've got a few paintings also today to show in our satsang, and let's see how much of it we can make it. But we now go to Doha Chaupai block number, Chaupai Doha block number 59. नितनव सोचु सती उर भारा, कब जय हूँ दुख सागर पारा, मैं जो की रघुपति अपमाना, पुनिपति बचन मृषा करि जाना, सो फलु मोहि विधाता दीन्हा, जो कछु उचित रहा सोई कीन्हा, अब विधि अस बूझिय नहीं तो ही, शंकर विमुख जियावसि मोहि, कही न जाय कछु हृदय गलानी, मन महु राम ही सुमिरी सयानी, जो प्रभु दीन दयालु कहावा, आरती हरन बेद जसु गावा, तो मैं बिनय करऊं कर जोरी, छूटऊ बेगी देह यह मोरी, जो मोरे शिव चरण सने हूँ, मन क्रम बचन सत्य ब्रतु ऐहू, तो सब दरसी सुनिय प्रभु, करऊ सो बेगी उपाई, होई मरनु जहि बिनहि श्रम, दुसह विपत्ति बिहाई, नित नव सोचु सती उर भारा. Now just see the state of her mind. It is not calm, it is not composed. Shivji has gone into a meditative trance and she's at a complete loss. She doesn't know what to do. And an empty mind, as they say, is a devil's den, or it's a goddess's den in this case. And she's, confronted with a new thought every second. So thoughts are flying across her mind. उनके चित्त में अनेक तरह की वृत्तियां जाग उठ रही है. और शिवजी इज इन योग चित्त वृत्ति निरोधा. He has gone into a meditative trance. So नितनव सोचु सती उरभारा, कब जय हूं दुख सागर पारा. And she's saying, how will I cross this ocean of sorrow that I have entered into of my own doing? I don't know now. I don't know what the resolution of this is. मैं जो कीन्ह रघुपति अपमाना, पुनिपति बचनु मृषा करी जाना. So she says, I've done two mistakes. One, I insulted Sri Ram by, going in front of him with kapat, dressed up as Sita ji. And then I also did not, see the truth value of what my husband was saying, and I treated it as false and went to do the test myself. So that was the first mistake. Chalo, wo bhi theek hai. She wants to, do the test herself. But the second mistake, the bigger one, was she did kapat. She went dressed up as Sita ji to test the nature of Ram. And then she says, okay, then give me the fruit of this. Whatever mistake I have done, there is no eternal sin. I am ready to bear, for this mistake, I'm ready to bear the punishment. So phalu mohi bidhata dinha, jo kachu uchita raha soi kinha. And isliye, because of this, I have got the fruit that was correct for me, and Vidhata, Brahmaji, has given me the right fruit. He has separated my husband from me. He has put him into a meditative trance. I am now stranded and alone, and serves me right. So she's fully aware that this situation is of her own making. But now she says, this fruit is all very fine, but now you have put me in another torment, because I cannot live like this without my husband, with my husband being separated from me. Ababidhi asabujya nahi tohi, sankara bimukhaji avasi mohi. And now she says, you need to give a punishment that is appropriate. You need to have a proportionate response to the punishment. But she's now blaming Brahma ji, saying, Aapne galti to mujhe meri manya hai. I have done a mistake. But the punishment that you have, given me is not commensurate with my mistake, because you have made me Shankar Bimukh. You have separated me from my husband. There should have been a slightly lesser punishment. So now, let me correct it by going to a higher divinity. So Brahmaji has given me a disproportionate punishment. I will now do the smaran. I will now recall the great benefactor, Shri Ram. So kahi na jai kachur hudaya galani. The state of affairs of her heart could not be described. Manamahu Ram hi sumiri sayani. Goswami ji ne Sati ji ko yahan pe sayani kaha hai. She is an adult. And she's in the full know of the whole cycle of events. So she says, okay, now I will take repose to Prabhu Shri Ram, and she starts remembering him in his mind. In her mind. Jo Prabhu Deena Dayalu Kahava. And then she gets into her pride again and says, well, you are called as someone who is extremely compassionate for those seeking compassion. Arati Harana Bedaja Sugava. And your glories have been sung as someone who takes away the sorrows of people. Well, then prove who you are. To main binaya karaun karajori. And hence I humbly pray before you, Chhutau begi deha yah mori. Please kill me. Please take away my body, because you are the great giver of compassion. I have been given a disproportionate punishment by Brahmaji. You give me a proportionate punishment, do the correction, and take away my life. Jo more siva charana sanehu, manakrama bachana satya brata ehu. if you think that I really love Shivji at his feet, then I bow down to you with all my deeds, words, and action. And if my love is true in all these three forms, then please take my life away. Away. Tau sabadarasi suniya prabhu karau so begi upai. Please urgently do a fix for this disproportionate punishment. Hoi maranu jehi binahi shrama dusaha bipati bihai. And you plan my death in such a manner so that this sorrow will go and all this shrama, all this pain that I have living is taken away. So this is not to be interpreted as maran bina shram ke ho, unka jeena hi shram hai. So she's saying that मेरा जो जीना ये जो श्रम जैसा है उसको निकालो, बिना ही श्रम ये जो विपत्ति आई है उसका एक ही solution है. There's only one solution, उसका एक ही निवारण है कि you take away my life. I don't want to live when my husband has kind of put a veil between the two of us. So she's tormented, she's in remorse, she's regretting, and she's also saying, take away my life. Exactly echoed by Sita ji. So Sati and Sita. Sita ji in Ashokvana. Chandrahasa haru mama paritapam Raghupati. You know that whole verse in which she's praying to the sword Chandrahas of Ravan, saying, "Oh sword of Ravana, come and kill me, behead me. I cannot, bear this separation from Sri Ram." So you see that Shiv, Sati, and Ram Sita stories are running in parallel. Sita and Ram are physically separated. Shivji and Satiji are mentally and emotionally separated, but together. Sati is wanting to die being with Shivji because she's mentally away from him. Sita there is wanting to die because she's physically away from Ramji, but she says, I cannot die because my heart and mind are with you. How is it even possible that I will die? So we see these two parallel stories running on top of each other. As I said, a very poignant cycle of Sati Daha. Yeah, Sajali.
So my association of Sati is with the whole burning pyre and so on and so forth. And I'm wondering why Parvati ji was named Sati. I mean, is there a story or is there a meaning? And is it that because of that meaning, later it was called Sati Parampara? I mean, is there a correlation or am I just...
It's very paradoxical because the Sati that was banned later is when your husband dies, you kind of enter as a wife onto the pyre, right? This is exactly the opposite. The husband is very much alive, and Satiji is self-emulating with her yogic power. So the Sati Parampara is in my mind not really congruent with this whole Sati cycle. So we will cover that entire cycle, and maybe we'll come back to this question when we are done with the whole self-emulation of Sati. And Shivji is very much alive, and he gets into a torment. Whereas the Sati Parampara that was banned is when the husband dies. So it's paradoxical.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that the correlation, which was like, it's something about burning and passing on and fire. And I'm wondering whether the word Sati in itself has some intrinsic, what is the meaning of Sati?
Sati is pure and pious.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, thanks.
But even I had fumbled upon this question, and at least I have not found a resolution to it. I don't know why that Sati is associated with. I mean, she is considered a very pious wife. So, Parvati, Sati, Uma, Aparna, all these names depict a certain, piousness. And which is why probably that name came to be associated there. But I don't have any answer that I can give with surety. So.
Is this also derived from the word Sat? Sat and Sati, are they associated?
No, I don't think the root of them is the same. Sati is pious and pure. Sat is the absolute truth. So I'm looking up Apte's Sanskrit dictionary while we're discussing this. Sati is a virtuous or good wife, a female ascetic, a name of the goddess Durga, a kind of fragrant earth. These are the Sanskrit meanings of Sati. So basically what I said, a virtuous and a pious wife. And Sat is something completely different. It's the eternal truth. Okay, yeah, Ekta, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just wanted to add to what Sajliji had said about the correlation. So based on what I know and what I've read, I could be wrong, just wanted to put it out there, is that the sati practice was not originally Hindu practice. It was started on a very, very small scale, but it kind of, the way the narrative was built and the presentation that was kind of, the stories that were kind of really blown up to kind of portray Hinduism or Sanatan in a bad light, to simply cause fragmentation of communities and the society as we knew it in the middle century, especially after the Mughals had kind of, their power had waned and the British were coming into India. So the evangelists, the ones who were tasked with conversion and, you know, their own agenda, they were the ones who were behind this narrative of sati, and they picked up. So you will find you will find a lot of things that were picked up from our texts and our cultures, you know, and being completely twisted and blown out of proportion. There will be a very small element of truth which everyone would be aware about, and that is given a completely different twist. And Sati was one of them, because everyone knows the story of her immolating herself, which is really not self-immolation, unfortunately, because when you translate from one language to another, a lot of stuff gets lost. So they've used that as artistic or creative freedom to narrate, to build a narrative which is against what the Sanatani way of life was. Which is why you'll also find a lot of people, you know, questioning, like, I mean, personally, I feel when I talk about just this session itself, you know, I don't know much. For me, I just know the stories. But when I talk about it and I try to kind of correlate it, everyone says, oh, I don't believe in Ram because he left his wife eventually. What had she done? And I really don't have an answer, because, you know, I get it at a certain this thing, but I can't explain to people given the understanding that they have.
Yeah. So, okay. So as I said, let's park this whole sati parampara, the immolation of women on the funeral pyre of their husbands, as a separate topic. It's not related to this sati cycle. And sati, while we were discussing this, as I said, I looked up apte. The meaning is exactly what I had said: a virtuous and pious wife. But then, when in doubt, always go to Bjorkling. So I was also looking up Bjorkling's dictionary, which is the Petersburg.
Link. Can you share that link?
Of Bjorkling's dictionary? Yeah, I'll immediately share it in the chat.
And we also say Sati Savitri, don't we? So
yeah,
that's part and parcel.
Yeah, but that's the pious wife part.
Yeah.
So this is the link of Bjorkling. I've shared it there, and over there he calls it Viva Troy, which means wifely faithfulness. So that's exactly the way it is. Yeah, Viva Troy. Okay, so we move on to now Doha, Chaupai Doha block number 60. I've shared the link of the Petersburg Bjorkling dictionary in the chat in case anyone wants to look it up. Ehi vidhi dukhit prajes kumari akathaniya darun dukh bhari बीते संबत सहस सतासी तजी समाधि शंभु अविनाशी राम नाम शिव सुमिरन लागे जाने सती जगतपति जागे जाई शंभु पद बंदनु कीन्हा सनमुख शंकर आसनु दीन्हा लगे कहन हरि कथार साला तच्छ प्रदेश भय तेहि काला देखा विधि विचारि सब लायक छहि कीन्ह प्रजापति नायक. I think someone बड़ अधिकार दक्ष जब पावा अति अभिमान हृदय तब आवा नहीं को असजन मा जग माही प्रभुता पाई चाहि मद नाही दक्ष लिए मुनि बोली सब करन लगे बड़ जाग नेवते सादर सकल सुर जे पावत मख भाग. So now some distraction comes on the way of sati. Ehi vidhi dukhita prajesa kumari, and Goswami ji very as I said, I'm amazed the way he is so adept at using words. He introduces her as Prajes Kumari, and then we are suddenly made to realize that Sati is the daughter of Daksha Prajapati, and her father Daksha is now going to enter in this whole drama. So over here, he calls her Prajes Kumari, Sati. So Sati is the daughter of Daksha, who then is anointed as Prajapati by Brahma. Now, that itself will be a one-hour story of how that happened, the Manus, etc. Enough to say that we had talked of various Manus in the cyclicity of time. So just as the entire world is created from that Ur Manu, Daksha is also someone who is considered as the one person from whose wives the whole world then emanates. So he's also a beginning a person, so to say, just like Manu, and then Brahma appointed him once upon a time as Prajapati, and hence he is called Daksha, who became Prajapati, hence Daksha Prajapati. Ehi vidhi dukhita Prajesa Kumari, akathaniya daruna dukha bhari. Her sorrow is indescribable. Another classic Goswami ji trope. He describes everything in great beauty and great poignancy, and then says, "Ye to iska varnan hi nahi ho sakta." This poetic trope is used by Goswami ji again and again across the Manas, in which he describes it and then says it's not describable, which is to say that he wants to tell us that whatever I have depicted in words, the pain and sorrow was way, way beyond what is transferable through the auditory channel and the speaking channel. So it's way beyond what the Indriyas can grasp. So akathaniya daruna dukha bhari, beete sambata sahasa satasi. Ab sambata sahasa satasi mane kya? 1027 or 87 sahas, 27,000. It could be both. So 27,000 years passed, or 1,027 years passed, and after which Shivji then suddenly gave up his samadhi. You remember that Shivji has gone in a trance. Sati doesn't know what to do. She's praying that, oh, let me kind of give up my life. That would be the proportionate punishment. The punishment of keeping me alive is actually tormenting me, and that is disproportionate punishment. And in all this, Sahasa Satasi, 1,027 or 27,000 years passed. What does this mean? It could be a moment which became like a yuga for Sati, or this entire gap of 1,027 years or 27,000 years was like a moment, because Shivji is in Samadhi, and in Samadhi time itself, as it were, stops. So the time factor here is irrelevant, because whatever the time, it's going to be much more for Sati, and it's going to be like a moment in time for Shivji, because one is in Samadhi and the other one is in doubt and torment. So a lot of time passed, God time, remember, this is not mortal time, a lot of God time passed. Taji Samadhi Sambhu Abhinasi, and the indestructible Shivji came out of his Samadhi. Now, in the Yoga Sutras, there are, I think, 5 vrittis that are given. Nidra is one of them, sleep. Smriti is the other 3 I don't recall. But if someone is a great mendicant and someone is in deep love of God, then the first thing that he remembers when he comes out of Samadhi is God. And that's exactly what happens to Shivji. He's God himself. He's also remembering God. Rama Nama Siva Sumirana Lage. The moment he came out of Samadhi and started slowly opening his eyes, he started saying Ram, Ram, Ram. Janeu Sati Jagatapati Jage. And because of that continuous vibration of Ram, 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 Satiji heard it and then came in the know that, okay, finally, after a very long time, Shivji is out of his Samadhi. Jai Sambhupada Bandhanu Kina. She went and offered her prayers to Shivji. Sanamukha Sankara Asanu Dina. Shivji said, please come and sit in front of me. And that again crashed her, because she is his Ardhangini. She is his better half, other half. She's supposed to be sitting next to him very close. And Shivji is saying, oh, please come and sit in front of me. And that crashed her again. Sanamukha Sankara Asanu Dinha. Lage Kahana Hari Katha Rasala. Remember, earlier he was telling and regaling her with stories. Now he is telling stories of Hari. Now again the commentators say कि ये हरि कथा है, ये राम जी की कथा नहीं है, ये दशावतारों में से 9 अवतारों की कथा है, लेकिन राम जी की कथा शिव जी वापस सुनाते नहीं है until and unless she comes back as Parvati ji. Okay, so as I said, that is the commentarial tradition. So lage kahana hari katha rasala. He started telling her very sweet stories of the Lord. Dacha praje sabhaye tehi kala. And while this was going on, Brahmaji then said, Daksha, I anoint you as Daksha Prajapati. You are now the head of all the people around you, and start creating children and start populating the earth. And Daksha Prajapati, one of his daughters is already Sati. So Daksha Prajesa Bhayetehi Kala, Dekha Vidhi Bichara Sabalayaka Dakshahi Kina Prajapati Nayaka. And he saw that in the given context of things, the person who is capable of holding this title is Daksha. So Brahma ji said, मैं आपको Daksha ji, मैं आपको Prajapati बनाता हूँ. Bada adhikara Daksha jab pawa. And Daksha suddenly got a lot of power because he was the Prajapati. He was the king of his whole Praja. Ati abhimanu hrudaya tab ava. And his heart was full of abhiman, of pride, of arrogance. Nahi koi, and then this is again Arthantarnyas. So a very specific case is taken that Daksha was anointed Prajapati, and this amassing of great power in his hands corrupted him, and he had a lot of pride. A very specific case is now generalized by Goswamiji in the Arthantarnyas. Nahi ko asajana ma jagamahi prabhuta pai jahi madanahi. There is yet to be born someone on the face of this earth who, having achieved some kind of greatness, is not intoxicated. So this is a warning bell for each and all of us, every one of us. All of us are born, all of us will die, and we are caught in this ardhali. We are represented here. There is no one yet born who, having achieved greatness, does not get intoxicated with it. Greatness of looks, beauty, wealth, power, health, money, access, anything, any kind of achievement will intoxicate you. So Goswami ji is warning us, saying, Nahi ko asajanama jagamahi prabhuta pai jahi madanahi. So obviously Daksh got intoxicated the moment he had this power, intoxicated with power. Dachaliye muni boli saba karana lage bada jag. And he said, okay, now I've been anointed Prajapati. Come, call all the munis. I'm going to do a great yajna. Nevate sadara sakala sura je pavata makhabhag. And he sent invitation letters, in some kind of manner at that time. Maybe Narad Muni was going and giving the invitations. He sent out invitations to all the great munis, rishis, saying, come, I am now Prajapati. I am doing a yajna. Come to take your share in the offerings I'm making. So a very Rajasi kind of yajna with a lot of pride, but also with a lot of wealth for distribution. And all these invitations are sent out, but the invite does not go to Shivji. So flashback. There is great enmity between Daksha and Shivji. Remember, he is his son-in-law. He has given his own daughter Sati's hand to him in marriage, but he has called him Markatalochan. Oh Sati, you are doe-eyed and you are marrying this monkey-eyed god. This phrase as it is, Markatalochan, comes in the Bhagavad, in which Daksha Prajapati calls Shivji Markatalochan and Sati doe-eyed. So this is basically showing the clash of Sattva Guna and all, Shaucha, Santosha, Samadhi, all the things that Shivji is practicing, and the Shadripus that Daksha is representing. So there's a clash between these, and obviously it is personified in the clash between Daksha Prajapati and Shivji. So Shivji says, I'm not going to interact with such people full of pride. He stays away. And Daksha says, ये नरमुंड धारण करता है, कैलाश पे रहता है, सांप सब अंग पे धारण करता है, इनको तो मैं मेरे यज्ञ में नहीं बुलाऊंगा. So there's a mutual disaffection, and Daksha does not invite him, but an invite is sent to all the gods. And Sati ji sees in Kailasa that all the gods are now going from one place to another. Let's begin with a beautiful painting of this Daksha Yajna series. Okay. Look at this. So this painting, I'll tell you, is again a very interesting painting. There are two interpretations of this painting, but it's kind of poetic justice. So one of the interpretations of this painting is this is Parvati ji. So in her next avatar, as when Sati dies and she's reborn as Parvati, the gods want a child, Kartikeya, so that a demon can be killed. But Shivji is in Samadhi, so they send Parvati ji to him to get him out of his tapasya. He is not ready, he is in meditation. So Sati, forlorn, then goes back, saying, Kuch nahi ho, not Sati, Parvati, forlorn, goes back. So this is how the painting is interpreted in some cases. The other interpretation is, you see all the god pairs going from above. There's, so all the gods are going from above over here. Sati ji is sitting with Shivji. Shivji is telling her Hari Katha, Bhagwan ki Katha suno. और सती जी दुनियादारी में लगे, अरे ये देखो, ये भगवान उधर जा रहे हैं, उनकी गाड़ी देखो कितनी सुंदर है, उनके गहने देखो कितने सुंदर है, ये तो मेरे पिताजी के पास जा रहे हैं, मुझे भी अच्छी अच्छी साड़ी और हीरे जवारात पहन के उधर जाना है, मैं जाऊं. So she's getting caught up in this dunyadari, and he is regaling her, this Vrishaketu, the banner of Dharma, the carrier of the banner of Dharma, is regaling her with Hari Katha, and she's distracted by all these activities. He says, no, don't go, because he is your father, I get it. But you have not been invited. You are just asking for your own inside by going there. Please don't go. She doesn't listen. She says, no, I am going. And she slowly walks away, and all the Ganas of Shivji are watching, saying, oh my God, another problem is going to arise. So while we are at this, we will look at a few beautiful verses from the Bhagavad Puran, which also depict these series, because they are so beautiful. I mean, it almost appears like a dialogue between any mortal man and wife. So Sati is talking to Shivji. Daksha has become Prajapati. He has organized a great yagya, and he has sent the invites to all the gods. All the gods are moving in the sky, and Sati looks at them and then says to Shivji, Prajapateste Shvasurasya Sampratam Niryapito Yajna Mohotsava Kila Vayancha Tatra Bhisarama Vama Te Yadyathirtami Vibudha Vrajanti. O my beautiful Lord, a great sacrifice festival has now been initiated by Prajapati Daksha, who is your father-in-law. If you wish, we may also go there, because she wants to go there, just as all those demigods are eagerly traveling to get it. So all the gods who are in the skies are going there, and she's saying, Shivji, aap katha suna rahe, ye to badi achhi baat hai, lekin chalo na, let's go for the party. Let's go there. My father is organizing a great event. Please take me along. Let's go there. Tasmin bhaginyo mama bhartrubhisvakair Dhvam gamishyanti surbuddhi drukshavaha ahancha tasmin bhavatabhikamaye sahopanitam paribarhamarhitum. My sisters, she's 60 of them, accompanied by their husbands, will surely go there out of a desire to see their dear relatives. I also desire to go along with you and receive the affectionate gifts and presentations given to the family members at this great ceremony. You know, there are going to be sweetmeats distributed, saris, dagine, सब कुछ मिलने वाला है. हरी कथा तो ठीक है, लेकिन हम भी चलते हैं ना, प्लीज मुझे लेके चलिए. तत्र स्वसुर में ननु भर्तु संमिता मातृश्वश्रुक्लिन्न धियञ्च मातरम् द्रक्षे चिरोत्कण्ठ मनाम हर्षिभिर् Unniyamanancha mrudathvaradhvajam. O Lord Shiva, my heart has been full of intense longing for a long time to see my sisters. You know, she's gone through all this torment, this doubt, doubting Ramji, Shivji going into a penance, coming out of it. And she's just exhausted now. And she says, I need a break. Let me go and meet my sisters. And ye to acha bahana ban gaya udhar jaane ka. My heart has been full of intense longing for a very long time to see my sisters with their respected husbands, my maternal aunts, and my mother, whose heart flows with deep affection for me. Remember, she's not talking of her father. I also long to see the sacrificial flags raised high by the great sages. So all the pomp and pageantry that's going to happen over there, she's very keen to see. Tvaye tadascharya majatma mayaya vinirmitam bhati gunatrayatmakam Tathapyaham yoshida tattva vinchate Dina didrukshe bhavame bhavakshitim. I know that for you, this entire world created by the illusory energy of the unborn Lord and consisting of the three material modes, Sattva, Raja, Tama, is just a passing wonder. Nevertheless, O Lord Bhava, I am just a poor woman who does not understand the ultimate truth. You know, I'm Sati, I'm in doubt. I intensely desire to see the place of my birth. So she's saying, I get all your teachings, but you also know that I'm ignorant. I've made mistakes. So mujhe, please let me go. Come along with me. I know we are uninvited, but let us, please let us go. So, I mean, this dialogue can be in any household between mother and child, between, you know, husband and wife, between two friends. It's so beautiful. And this is from the Bhagavad Purana, as I said. And Goswamiji is bringing the story directly from there, because the story is not in the Valmiki Ramayana. Okay, so we go on with this. Because this is so beautiful, I thought I'll just share a couple of more verses. Okay, she's now also attracted to the Dunyadari. She's saying, O Shita Kantha, blue-throated one, you know, because of the halal poison, look at all those other women, accompanied by their loving husbands. You know, all the husbands are also decked up beautifully. Or ye avgardani aise baithe idhar saap gale mein laga ke. She's having that worry. Look at the other people's husbands, how normal they are, and you are this outwardly abnormal guy. I love you deeply, but let me at least go there and check out. Accompanied by their loving husbands, they are traveling there in large groups, beautifully adorned. See how their celestial airplanes, white as swans, have completely illuminated and decorated the sky. Oh, best among the demigods, how can a daughter's body not agitate with excitement upon hearing of a festive celebration at her father's home? Even here, she's not saying, I want to meet my father. I want to check the celebration going on at my father's home and meet my mom. Even if uninvited, one can always go to the house of a husband, a spiritual master, a teacher. So she's using all tricks in her bag to convince him, saying, let's go, just come. Or the person who gave them their body, a parent, for such visits are driven by pure affection. So she's saying, I don't have any other intention but just love. But the calling is actually the festivities. Therefore, O Shivji, please be pleased with me and fulfill this desire. You are certainly naturally compassionate and ought to do so, since I have been acknowledged by you with your all-seeing vision as the very half of your own body. So she's saying, it's my right, I'm your better half, other half. Please show your grace and grant this prayer, which is, let's go, the two of us. Shivji replies, Vidya tapo vitta vapurvaya kulaihi satam gunai shadbhira sattamettareihi smrutau hatayam bhrutamana dudrushaha stabdhana pashyanti hidham bhuyasam. So he listens to all of that and says, the six qualities, knowledge, austerity, wealth, physical beauty, youth, and high birth, are considered virtues when possessed by saintly people. However, when possessed by those who are dishonest and untrustworthy, these same qualities destroy their good sense. He's talking of the intoxication of Daksha after having become Prajapati. Blinded by false pride, such arrogant people lose the vision to see the spiritual glory and greatness of elevated souls. So I'm not going to enjoy any moment over there. Let me be by myself. I would wish you don't go, but it's your choice. You decide what you want to do. So that's the painting. And it's such a beautiful dialogue. I mean, I don't know how you all found it, but I just love the way the Bhagavata has portrayed this dialogue. You know, it's so normalized, this dialogue between Shivji and Sati. So she's looking at the gods. She's saying, no, I don't see there's any point. And then she walks away saying, I'm still going. So she's still Sati. She has doubts over what she's done, but she still wants to test it herself. And she knows that she's not invited, but she also knows कि हाँ हमारे पति थोड़े से हटके हैं, अब क्या करें? You know, let's just take things for what they are and not make a big, much ado about nothing. Let's uska ज़्यादा हम कुछ बनाते नहीं. I'll just go and enjoy. So Doha Chaupai block number 60. Sorry, are there any questions?
Yeah, Santosh, I just wanted to know that is this her wish or her prayer to Lord Ram to take away this body? Is this a precursor to this? Is it like connected?
Yes, it is very much connected. So now she'll go there and then the whole cycle will unfold. It's absolutely that. So she's prayed to Ramji and now she's moving towards the Daksha Yajna, and there, this whole the mental state is, it's going to completely, there is going to be a 360-degree turn to the whole thing, to the whole mood. So we'll come to that. So we move now to Doha Chopai block number, Chopai Doha block number 61. So पावत मख भाग, there's also material want कि यहाँ पे यज्ञ में बहुत सारी चीजें डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होने वाली है. हमारे लिए भी तो कुछ रखा होगा. पिताजी ने बताया आपकी उनसे दुश्मनी है, लेकिन मैं भी तो उनकी कन्या हूँ, हमारा भाग लेके तो हम आते हैं. So she's on the one side, she's loving her husband deeply. On the other side, she's wanting to meet all her sisters, her mom, see the great festivities, look at who's dressed up with what's the new design, what's the new ornament. Very, very normal. And Shivji is saying, no, he's affected with pride. I'm not interested in his company because it suits only those who are virtuous. And where there is pride and intoxication, I'm not going. So Chopai Doha block number 61. Kinnara नाग सिद्ध गंधर्वा बधुन समेत चले सुर सरबा विष्णु बिरंचि महेशु बिहाई चले सकल सुर जान बनाई सती बिलो के व्योम विमाना जात चले सुंदर विधि नाना सुर सुंदरी करहि कलगाना सुनत श्रवण छूट ही मुनि ध्याना पूछे तब शिव कहे बखानी पिता यज्ञ सुनि कछु हर सानी जो महे सुमोहि आय सुदेही कछु दिन जाई रहो मिस एही पति परित्याग हृदय दुख भारी कहि न निज अपराध विचारी बोली सती मनोहर बानी भय संकोच प्रेम रस सानी पिता भवन उत्सव परम जो प्रभु आयसु होई तो मैं जाऊं कृपायतन सादर देखन सोई Kinnara Naga Siddha Gandharva. So all the Kinnaras, those having the face of a horse and a body of a human being, it is said that the Kinnaras come from the lineage of Hayagriva. Hayagriva was of an avatara, and the Kinnaras are considered to be originated from Hayagriva. So Kinnara Nag Siddha Gandharva. So basically everyone but human beings, which is to remove the anthropocentricity. The whole world revolves around being human. So Swamiji removes it in one flash saying, Kinnar hai, Nag hai, Siddh hai, Gandharva hai. Badhuna sametha chale sura sarva. All the gods with their goddesses, with their consorts, are flying in the sky. Vishnu biranchi mahesu bihai chale sakala sura jana banai. Vishnu, Brahma and Shivji did not go. Shivji was not invited at all. The other two probably were, but did not go because again, they did not want to be associated with such a place of intoxication and pride. They had nothing to do with it. So the three Trimurtis stayed away, but all other gods, Indra of course is always wanting more. So all the other gods started going, and Satiji is watching this drama and saying, what am I doing here sitting listening to Harikatha in the cold Kailas mountains under a banyan tree? I need to go there. So Chale Sakala Sura Jana Banai. All of them have dressed up and अपना सच धज के सब ऊपर से जा रहे हैं. सती बिलो के व्योम विमाना. सती looks व्योम में, आकाश में जो विमान चल रहे हैं, उनको सती जी ने देखा. जाते चले सुंदर विधि नाना, and they were looking so beautiful. Just imagine that you're already high on Kailasa and you're seeing beautiful vehicles of gods flying over, decked up, ceremonially ready. Like we have the chariots on special occasions. It's not also a normal chariot. These special vehicles are going, and her mind is completely taken in by this beauty that she's seeing. And remember, she's also proud that her husband is all-knower, all-powerful. She also is worried that why is he bowing down to Ram? So she says, this beauty is like dirt of his right hand or left hand. somewhere. So why is he staying like this? She's also confused that he's, all powerful, my husband, and look at the wealth and beauty out there in the world. And he's sitting here half naked with, human skulls around him, snakes around him. What is this? So Vishnu biranchi mahesu bihai chale sakala sura jan banai. Sur jan mane suron ka yan mane the vehicles of the gods flying in the sky. Sati bilo ke vyoma vimana jata chale sundara vidhinana sura sundari karahi kalagana. all the goddesses were, chit-chatting amongst themselves. They were gossiping. They were talking, "Are isko dekho, iski saadi achhi nahi hai, iski aankh mein ye laga hai, wo acha nahi dikh raha hai." They were wearing ornaments that were tinkling and jangling, and they were also singing. Sunata Shravana Chutahi Muni Dhyana. And listening to this beautiful noise or kalkal, this symphony of the skies, of the goddesses talking amongst each other, great rishis who were sitting in dhyana, वो भी ध्यान से बाहर निकल आए कि इतनी सुंदर आवाजें, इतनी सुंदर ध्वनि कहाँ से आ रही है. So it was so beautiful. पूछेउ तब शिव कहेउ बखाने. And then Satiji asked Shivji, "Shivji, look at this. Do you know what this is going on?" And Shivji, the all-knower, he says, "Yeah, पिता यज्ञ सुनी पछु हर्षानी." आपके ही पिताजी की ये सब करनी है. He is organizing a great yajna, which is why these fellows are going there. And Satiji gets very happy. "Oh, so it's my father who's doing this, and it is of his making that all these gods are going. How wonderful." Jo mahe sumohi ayasu dehi, kachudi na jai rahau misaehi. She says, "My wish is, if only he says yes, I wish to go there and stay a few days at my Maika." So slightly different variation of the Bhagavad story that we read right now. Pati parityaga hridaya dukhu bhari. She has great sorrow of, separating away from her husband for a few days. Kahai na nija aparadha bichari. But she says, abhi aisa hi chalta rahega. I have committed a sin. इन्होंने अबोला धरा है. ये कुछ बात नहीं करते, ध्यान में जाते हैं, हरी कथा सुनाते हैं. ये ऐसा ही चलने वाला है. So at least let me have some kind of distraction and then come back. I'll meet my parents. I'll meet my sisters. I'll enjoy some festivities. My remorse will be distracted for some time. And anyhow, I'm coming back to him. Boli sati manohar bani. And she said very beautiful and charming words. Bhaya, she was slightly scared. She was slightly embarrassed. She was full of love and rasa. They were dripping, oozing ambrosia. And she said, "Pita bhavana utsava parama." There's a great festival happening at my father's house. You told me. "Jo prabhu ayasu hoi." If you allow, if you permit. "To main jaun krupayatana," O house of compassion. If you allow, I just want to go there and take a look. Can I go? And then we move on with the next. See, it's a very flowing story, as I said, a very poignant cycle, but a very beautiful one. We move on through Chaupai Doha block number 62. कहे उनी कमोरे हुमन भावा, यह अनुचित नहीं नेवत पठावा. तच्छ सकल निज सुता बुलाई, हमरे बयर तुम्हऊ बिसराई. ब्रह्म सभा हम सन दुखुमाना, तेहि ते अजहु करहि अपमाना. जो बिनु बोले जाहु भवानी, रहइ न सीलु सने हुन कानी. जदपि मित्र प्रभु पितु गुर गेहा, जाय बिनु बोले हुन संदेहा. तदपि विरोध मान जह कोई, तहाँ गए कल्याण न होई. भांति अनेक शंभु समुझावा, भावी बसन ज्ञान पुर आवा. कह प्रभु जाहु जो बिनहि बुलाए, नहीं भली बात हमारे भाए. कही देखा हर जतन बहु, रहइ न दक्ष कुमारी. दिए मुख्य गण संग तब, विदा की त्रिपुरारी. कहे उनी कमोरे हुमन भावा. So he says, you have said a nice thing. I get it. I mean, you want to visit your parents. I mean, it's normal. It's part of life. Yaha anuchita nahi nevata pathava. But what I don't think is appropriate is that he has not sent out an invite. Daksha sakala nija suta bolai. I know that Daksha Prajapati has sent an invite to all his other daughters. So किसी को न्योता भेजा नहीं है. No, कई बार in very close relations we say, अरे हाँ भूल गया होगा, हम वैसे ही शादी को चले जाते हैं. उसमें क्या है, हमें क्या बुलाना है. But सबको न्योता भेजा है. All your sisters have been invited but you. So न्योता नहीं भेजा, ये भी मैं छोड़ देता, but only you have not been invited. The invite has gone to all other 59 sisters. दच्छ सकल निज सुता बोलाई, हमरे बयर तुम्हारू बिसराई. He has an enmity with me. He has an axe to grind with me because I have kind of engaged with his pride and commented on it. But he's also ignoring you for that. I don't like that. He could have just invited you. He's not also done that. Hamare bayar, because he has an enmity with me, tumhau bisarai. He has forgotten you. And you are his daughter. I don't think this is appropriate, says Shivji. Brahma sabha hama sana dukhumana. And then he refers to an old story. As I said, I don't want to distract too much, but there in the Sabha of Brahma, when once upon a time Daksha was there, all the gods stood up and offered him their graces. Shivji did not stand up because he was in meditation. He did not even know what was going on. And Daksha, with his pride, said, "Arey, sabne to mujhe, everyone is a yes man around me. Why is only one person not doing this?" And Shivji said, what happened? I'm in my meditative trance. Aapko ye power and people respecting you, isme aap pade ho. And then they have a verbal clash. And since then there is an enmity going on between Daksha, representing pride and arrogance, and Shivji being Shivji. So he says, ek baar wo Brahma Sabha mein hamsan dukhu mana. There was some dialogue between us because of which Daksha was hurt. Tehite ajahu karahi apamana. And he's keeping that in mind and he's inciting me again and again and again. Though I had not incited him. I was in my meditative trance and I just did not get up to kind of pay my respects to him. But he's holding that grudge against me even to date by not inviting not only me, but also not inviting you, even though he's invited all his other daughters. Jo binu bole jahu bhavani, rahi na silu sanehu na kani. If you go uninvited, when everyone else is invited, what will remain of character, of love, and of man maryada? There has to be certain do's and don'ts in social behavior. If you want yourself to be respected at your friends, gurus, teachers, parents' place, make sure that these basic limits are not crossed. Otherwise, you are just, designing an insult for yourself. Rahai na silu, sanehu na kani. Aapka मान नहीं रहेगा, मर्यादा टूट जाएगी और प्रेम जो आपको उभड़ के आ रहा है, उसको भी चोट पहुंचेगी. आप न जाओ, यही भला है. Jadapi mitra prabhu pitu gurageha. This is a direct translation of the Bhagavata verse that we read earlier. So, just one remark. Rāmacaritamānasa is an anthology of all Indian texts. It's an exaggeration of the great Indian texts. The Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Puran, the Shiv Puran. So many other stories. They find one-liner references and then it is the job of the Kathakar to use that as a peg and take you back to the stories from all these texts. So this, we read that Bhagavata verse in which Shivji says, these 6 qualities are appropriate. And Sati has said earlier that I can go to my guru's place, teacher's place, parents' place anytime. So this is a direct translation of that. He says, even though there is no doubt that to go to the house of a friend, your master, your father, your guru, inke geha griha mein, you don't need any invitation. You can just walk in. Jai binu bolehu na sandhya. There's no doubt that you can go to these places without being called for. These doors are exactly for such occasions in which you can go. Tadapi virodha mana jaha koi. But if you are being incited there, then even in these places, if you go, aapka bhala nahi hoga. It will be of no good to you. So these places are there because these are places of love, affection, and respect. But if that is not being exhibited in these places, then don't get into a fight, but just don't go, is my advice, says Shivji. Bhati aneka sambhu samujhava. Just like earlier, कि भाई यही राम है, ये दोनों राम एक ही है. अनेक तरह से उन्होंने सती जी को समझाने की कोशिश की. He's not arguing with her. He's explaining things to her. He's telling her, this is what I think. You have told me your side. This is what I think. Bhavi basana gyanu ora ava. But she was so emotional, wanting to see her parents and the festivities that she just did not get what Shivji was telling her. Or as we say, it was falling on deaf ears. Kaha prabhu jagu jo binahi bolaye, nahi bhali baat hamare bhai. He says, finally, I'm giving you the last word. If you go there uninvited, I don't think this is going to be a good thing. Kahi dekha hara jatan bahu rahai na dacha kumari. And then Shivji found out that even after telling her again and again, Sati is just not ready to listen. He again uses the word dacha kumari here for Sati. The daughter of Daksha, she's carrying that gene pool. So she's also having all the qualities that Daksha has. The daughter of Daksha is not just ready to listen to him. Then he says, chalo ab main kar hi kya sakta hu. Diye mukhya gana sangataba. To protect her, he gave along his main ganas that you saw they were hiding below in the picture earlier. He sent them along with her saying, chalo ja hi rahiye, to kam se kam inke saath jao, dhyan rakho ki kuch gadbad na ho jaye. And diye mukhya gana sangataba bida kina tripurari. And he said goodbye. I will go back into my meditative trance. You go if you want to. I have told what I have to say. You have agency. You've decided to exercise it. I'm giving you some people along with you to protect you on the way. Okay. And now Satiji goes over there and we go to the next Chopai Doha block, which is 63. पिता भवन जब गई भवानी, दक्ष त्रास काहुन सनमानी, सादर भले ही मिली एक माता, भगिनी मिली बहुत मुसुकाता, दक्षन कछु पूछी कुशलाता, सती बिलो की जरे सब गाता, सती जाई देखे तब जागा, कतहु न दीख शंभु कर भागा, तब चित चढ़ेउ जो शंकर कहेउ, प्रभु अपमानु समुझिउर दहेउ, पाछिल दुख न हृदय सव्यापा, जस यह भयउ महापरितापा, यद्यपि जगदारुण दुख नाना, सबते कठिन जाति अवमाना, समुझि सो सति भयउ अति क्रोधा, बहुविधि जननी कीन्ह प्रबोधा, शिव अपमानु न जाय सही, हृदय न होय प्रबोध, सकल सभहि हठि हटकि तब, बोली बचन सक्रोध, पिता भवन जब गई भवानी. She now left and went to the house of her father, Daksha Prajapati. Daksha trasa kahuna sanamani. And then, because everyone knew of this enmity between Shivji and Satiji, they saw Satiji coming and they just looked away. They were so scared that if I, who have come here for the yajna, respect Sati, mera yajna ka bhag to na chala jaye. You know? So they said, okay, I'll just ignore. So Sati just walks in and no one is taking cognizance of her. Daksha trasa kahuna sanamani. No one respected her, fearing the wrath of Daksha, knowing this enmity between Shivji and Dakshaji. Sadara bhale hi mili eka mata. Only her mother met her with affection. You know, mata na bane kumata, putra kuputra bhale hi. A son can go wrong, but a mother will never be a kumata. So Sati's mother met her with great affection. Bhagini mili bahuta musukata. And her sisters met her with a lot of laughter and smile, which is to say, part love, part fun, part cynical. So the mother showed affection, the sisters met her laughing, sniggering, smiling. And so basically these people met her, but the guests and Daksha, of course, no question. Dakshana kachu puchi kusalata. Daksha did not even take cognizance and like तोंड देखल्या बोलना जला अपन मराठी म्हणतो, at least कोई सामने है तो मुंह पे तो पूछो कि क्या हाल है, कैसे है, सब ठीक चल रहा है ना. Even that is not done, and they don't ask about how things are on the face also. Dakshana kachu puchi kusalata, sati hi biloki jare sabagata. And looking at Sati coming here uninvited, he started burning from within. He started getting very angry, saying, "Ye kya chal raha hai? I don't want Sati over here. I didn't want her here. She was uninvited." And suddenly she shows up over here, and he goes into a wrath kind of pang. Sati jai dekheu tab jaga. And then Sati says, "Theek hai, I mean, I know about it. He's probably angry with my husband. So let me at least go to the yajna, see the festivities. Katahu na dikha sambhu kara bhaga." And she did not see any place where, it was reserved ki Shivji to bulaya nahi hai, lekin unke liye ye bhag rakha hai. So all the gods, their seats, their names, the offerings that were to be made to the gods were all nomenclatured. But Shivji ka naam bhi nahi tha. And then she says, "Oh my God, so he's not only not invited, unke liye jo dena tha, wo kisi to baad mein bhijwa dete, wo bhi nahi hai. Katahu na dikha sambhu kar bhaga, taba chita chadheu jo sankar kaheu, prabhu apamanu samuji ura daheu." And at that, so she always understands things, but when the time for that has gone. And then suddenly she recalled the words of Shivji, and now she could not bear the insult of her husband that is happening in her own home of her parents. Pachila dukhuna hrudaya asabyapa. उसके पहले जो उनको दुख हुआ था, राम जी की परीक्षा, शिव जी ने उनको छोड़ दिया, उन सब दुख से ज्यादा ये दुख उनको चुभने लगा. That her husband has been insulted in her maika. She could not tolerate that. Jasa yah bhayau mahaparitapa. And she started burning with this sorrow, and it overtook all the earlier sorrows that she had. Jadyapi jagadaruna dukhanana sabate kathina jati avamana. And again, he goes into a generalization. There are many sorrows and insults in the world, but there is no such thing as being insulted by your own. Sabate kathina jati avamana. These are my own people, and they are insulting me like this. Dunya mein to ye hoga. My own father is, not inviting me, not inviting my husband. I came for the offering. He's not welcoming me. He's not embracing me. Aur unke liye bhag bhi nahi rakha. And she's really, it's like 1,000 thorns poking in her skin. Samujhiso satihi bhayau ati krodha. And understanding this, looking at it firsthand, she got very angry. Bahubidhi janani kina prabodha. And her mother started explaining, theek hai, this whole rivalry between Shivji and Dakshaji. Ab wo pati hai, ye pita hai. Ab karen to kya kare? Theek hai, chhod do. She's not ready to listen. The coin flips when Maina says, when she comes back as Parvati, Maina says, I'm not going to marry my beautiful daughter Parvati to this fellow Shivji. At which time Parvati explains to her mother saying, Mom, it's okay. Jo hona hai, so hi hona hai. Why are you so worked up? So in her Parvati form, she explains to her mother. In her Sati form, the mom is explaining to her. So again, a very, very balanced poetic distillation of the story by Goswami ji. So Bahubidhi Janani Kina Prabodha, the mother said, it's my daughter, I've embraced her, she's come here. I understand that, we can at least talk to you with love. Wo nahi kar rahe. So you know how he is. Why are you, making a huge show about it? Just keep quiet, enjoy your time with your sisters and me, and move on. Siva apamanu na jai sahi. But she just could not bear the insult that was done to Shivji. Hrudaya na hoi prabodha. And whatever her mother was explaining to her, she could not take. Sakala sabhi hataki taba boli bachana sakrot. She called out the whole sabha and said, attention, look at me, I am Sati, listen to me. I want to give all of you all my peace of mind. And then she speaks back to the sabha, having gone there and having faced this insult, which is Doha Chaupai Doha block number 64. Sunahu sabhasad sakala muninda, kahi suni jinha sankara ninda, so phalu turat lahab sab kahu, bhali bhati pachitab pitahu, sant sambhu shri pati apabada, suniya jahat asimar jada, काटियता सुजीभ जो बसाई, श्रवण मूदिनत चलिय पराई, जगदा तमाम हे सुपुरारी, जगत जनक सबके हितकारी, पिता मंदमति निंदत तेहि, दच्छ शुक्र संभव यह देहि, तजिहं तुरत देह तेहि धेतु, उरधरि चंद्र मौलि वृषकेतु, अस कहि जोग अगिनि तनुजारा, भयउ सकल मख हाहाकारा, सती मरनु सुनि शंभुगन, लगे करन मख खीस, यज्ञ विधंस बिलो की भृगु, रक्षा कीन्ह मुनीस, सुनहु सभासद सकल मुनिंदा. Sati calls back the whole gathering, August gathering, and says, Suno, sab sabhasadon, all the munis, listen to me. Kahi suni jinha sankara ninda. All of y'all, those of y'all who have listened to the criticism of Shivji, so phalu turata lahab sabakahu, bhali bhati pachitab pitahu. You will now get the fruit of your doing, and O father, you will also regret your act. She is saying this in public in front of 1,000 people gathered for that yajna, saying, listen, you have insulted Shivji, all of you all will bear fruit of your actions, and father, you will repent. Santa Sambhu Shri Pati Apabada. Suniya Jahatah Asimarajada. So it is said that wherever there is an insult done to great saints, to Shivji, or to the husband of Shri, which is Vishnu. So if you're insulting Vishnu, or Shivji, or great saints, Suniya Jahatah Asimarjada. If some insult is being cast at these three, then the right thing to do behaviorally, ये मर्यादा है अपने बर्ताव की क्या? काटियतासु जीभ जो बसाई, cut the tongue of people doing this, which is to say shut them up. Or shravana mudinata chaliya parai, fight or flight. You either shut them up or you close your eyes and walk away. When my husband was being insulted, all of you all were having a gala time. You were interested in your own share. None of you told Daksha, you're wrong. Please don't do this. None of you all walked away. You neither made my father shut his mouth up, nor did you all walk away. So all of you all are party to the crime by an act of both omission and commission, because you did not follow the right pattern of behavior. Jagadātama Mahesu Purari, Jagata Janaka Sabake Hitakari. You know that Shivji is Jagadatma. He's the resident of everyone's souls. He's Purari. He's the destroyer of the demons. Jagata Janaka Sabake Hitakari. He's the creator of the world, and he's also the protector of everyone. So remember that creation, sustenance, and destruction, even though assigned to Brahmaji, Vishnuji, and Maheshji, whenever we are talking of one God and offering our worship to them, all three attributes are attached to them. It is called henotheism. Whatever deity is in front of you, you attribute everything to it. And that is possible only because you know that the same essence resides in all deities. So which is what Sati is doing over here, saying, you know that he's the creator of everyone, he's the protector of everyone. Pita mandamati nindatate, and my father is a mandamati. So in the Sabha, she's calling out her father as dumb. And you dumb person, O my father, Dacha Sukra Sambhavayah Dehi, are dumb, and I am born from the same seed. मैं उन्हीं के शुक्र से जन्मी हुई हूं. I cannot let that go off. So an insult was made. I am chastising you, saying none of you all acted and have committed an act of omission and commission, but I am born from the same seed, so that Pap attaches to me also, because physically I am born from him. Which is why I give up my body immediately. I am practicing what I am preaching. I will not hear the insults being cast on Shivji. I cannot stop your wagging tongues. I will not only close my ears, I will just give up my body. Uradhari Chandra Mauli Brushaketu. This is so poignant. She's burning inside out. And in her heart, she's holding the face of Shivji carrying the moon on his head, the cooling agent. Chandra Mauli, जिनके सर पर चंद्र है और जिन्होंने हाथ में धर्म की ध्वजा धरी है, ऐसे शिवजी का चेहरा उर में रखे हुए, she self-immolated. Asakahi Joga Agini Tanujara, with the power of the heat created in the body through yoga. This always reminds me of a prasanga in Jnaneshwar's life, in which he heated his back when they had no food to eat, and his sister Mande, it's a particular delicacy, she baked that bread on his back. Mukta, his sister, baked that bread on Jnaneshwar's back, which he heated using his yogic powers. So Asakahi Joga Agini Tanujara, she burnt her body by heat created through her yogic prowess. Bhayau Sakala Makha Hahakara, and people were stunned. You know, for a moment everything was okay. Suddenly she comes, we ignore her. She gets into a rage. She talks back to us, and she's gone. And there was complete chaos in the yagya. Sati Maranusuni Sambhugana Lage Karana Makhakhisa. And the ganas that Shivji had sent to protect her, they saw this, and they just ran asunder and destroyed the whole yagya. उन्होंने सब वहां पे उछाल दिया जो भी था. Jagya Vidhansa Bilo ki Bhrugu Racha Kina Munisa. And seeing this destruction, they went to Bhrugu, because in the Vedas, in the mantras, there are some mantras specifically to be invoked when a yagya is being destroyed. So Bhrugu started invoking these mantras to protect the yagya. On the other hand, Shivji's ganas are destroying the yagya. So a battle starts between the ganas of Shivji and all the munis under the protection of Daksha, and Sati is gone. And Shivji is still not in the know. So we have 10 more minutes, but we'll just continue this because we are in that flow of that cycle. So Doha Chaupai block number 60, Chaupai Doha block number 65. समाचार सब संकर पाए, वीर भद्रु करी कोप पठाए, यज्ञ विधंस जाय तिन्ह कीन्हा, सकल सुरन विधिवत फलु दीन्हा, भय जग विदित दक्ष गति सोई, जसि कछु शंभु विमुख कै होई, यह इतिहास सकल जग जानी, ताते मैं संक्षेप बखानी, सती मरत हरि सन बरुमागा, जन्म जन्म शिव पद अनुरागा, तेहि कारण हिमगिरि गृह जाई, जनमी पार्वती तनु पाई, जब ते उमा शैल गृह जाई, सकल सिद्धि संपत्ति तह छाई, जहाँ तह मुनि न सुआश्रम कीन्हे, उचित बास हिम भूधर दीन्हे, Sada sumana phala sahita saba drumanava nana jati pragati sundara saila para maniya kar bahu bhati samachar sab sankar paaye. Shivji gets to know about this. Goswamiji does not tell who told Shivji. Shivji, of course, is the all-knower, but in the Bhagavad, in the Shiv Puran, it is Narad Muni who comes and tells this katha to Shivji, saying, Shivji, aapko pata hai udhar kya hua? And Narad Muni tells Shivji about everything that has happened. And Shivji is in a rage. He knows that this is going to happen, but he is in a rage that, his wife has self-immolated her. He just is out of control. And he picks up a braid of hair from his head and bangs it on the floor, and it shines like lightning and creates noise like thunder. This description in these very words is there in the Bhagavad, and from that is born Virabhadra. From that braid of hair of Shivji that he picks out and throws on the ground, Virabhadra comes out, and he tells Virabhadru Kariko Papathai, and he tells Virabhadra, go and do what you have to do. And Virabhadra then goes at the action of the Yajna. Yajna vidhansa jayiti nakina. He again goes there and destroys everything that is going on. So the Ganas of Shivji have already started the act. Virabhadra goes and finishes it off. The whole Yajna is destroyed. Sakala surana vidhivat phaludina. Unhone sab devataon ko vidhivat phal diya. He did not kill them. He gave them an appropriate punishment. किसी ने हंसा था तो दांत फोड़ दिए, किसी ने मुंह फेरा था तो मुंह तोड़ दिया, कोई उठ के चला गया था तो पैरों पे सजा कर दी. So a proportionate punishment was accorded to all the gods who had behaved inappropriately when all this was happening, the self-immolation of Sati and the insult of Shivji. Bhai jaga vidita daksha gati soy. And Goswamiji does not say what happens to Daksha. He says, Daksha ka kya hal hua? Matlab pride, arrogance ka kya hal hota hai? Everyone knows in the world. Bhai jaga vidita daksha gati soy. The whole world knows what was the end result of Daksha. Jasi kachu sambhu bimukha kaya hoi. It was exactly the same as of anyone who turns his face away from Shivji, which is from simplicity, sadguna, and projita kaita. If you don't have these qualities, what is to happen of you? Exactly that happened to Daksha Prajapati. Yaha itihasa sakala jagajani. The whole world knows this history of what happened to Daksha Prajapati. Tate main sanchepa bakhani. I don't want to waste my time too much on it. इसलिए मैंने आपको संक्षेप में बता दी, says Goswami ji. But he does not tell us what happened to Daksha Prajapati. We'll come to that in the end. Sati marata harisana barumaga. At the time of her death, Sati asked for a vow. Janama janama sivapada anuraga. I want to be eternally wedded to Shivji. I want to be at his feet forever. Tehi karana himagiri gruha jai, which is why she was born as Parvati in the house of Himalaya. Himagiri Gruha में उनका वापस जन्म हुआ, which is to say doubt was set to rest. It was burned at the house of intoxication against the wish of simplicity, and it was reborn as Vishwas and went back to Shivji again. Jabate Uma Saila Gruha Jai Sakala Siddhi Sampati Taha Chai. And when that Uma went to the house of Himalayas, suddenly Himalayas turned into an abode of beauty. Jahataha munina suashramakine. All the ashramas of the munis, the trees started flowering. They were full of fruits because Sadgun in the form of Parvati came to be. Uchita basahima bhudaradine. And everyone was given their appropriate residence. So all the munis started visiting the Himalayas. Sadasumana phala sahita saba drumanava nana jati. All kinds of trees were eternally flowering and fruiting. Pragati sundara saila para mani akara bahubhati. And many emeralds, jewels, diamonds started shining forth in the Himalayas once Parvati ji was born as a daughter in the house of Himalaya. Pehli beti, dhan ki beti. So this is what happened in the Himalayas. And we will conclude with the last 5 minutes of what happened to Shivji through some pictures. So let's just go back to the picture cycle. So here we see that Satiji is being curious. As I said, some call this to be Parvati going to Shivji, but many paintings talk of this as Satiji. And then he says, we talked of this whole cycle. And now Shivji is angry and he's picking his braid of hair. He's picking his braid of hair and a lightning emerges, and from that comes Veerabhadra. Look at his face. He's almost like Shiva, but he's from a hair. So the wrath and anger of Shiva is but a braid of his hair. And Veerabhadra is born like this, and he says, go, do what you have to do. And you see Narad Muni coming and telling him, you know what happened there? Have you seen what has happened there? And Narad Muni is coming and seeing this, reporting all this, and Veerabhadra is born. Ikta, I'll just complete the picture cycle and come back to it. Yeah. Here you have again the same picture in a Pattachitra. So Shivji is angry and Veerabhadra is born. And here you have the destruction. So all these are the Ganas, the goddesses, the Munis, and a fight is going on. This is by Sahib Din. Shivji is looking from afar. Narad Muni is telling Shivji all that has happened. Shivji has sent his Ganas and Veerabhadra. We can't really identify one person over here as Veerabhadra, probably this one. And then they are going back after destroying the Yagya. This is one depiction of it. Another depiction of it, a lot of, heads and arms and legs being thrown asunder. Veerabhadra over here being worshipped. And remember that the Lingayat community today worships Veerabhadra as their main deity. So Veerabhadra is a very popular deity in certain communities. The story of Veerabhadra is this. And then we said we don't know what happened to Daksha Prajapati, right? So this is what happened to him. And look at this. Look at the face of Veerabhadra. It's so calm, it's so quiet because it is a representation of Shivji. And if his head were there, his body should have been on that side. But he hears the thud, thud, thud of Veerabhadra coming. So he turns back. So his hands are here turning back. He is scared. His head has turned on the other side. He's wanting to run away with the other gods. The Yagya has been destroyed. And at that moment, when his head is turned away, full of fear, the calm, quiet face of Veerabhadra beheads him. This is what happens to Daksha. So pride and intoxication, the only solution to them is to nip it in the bud. There is no other solution. And then what happens to Shivji's wrath? He is angry. He doesn't know what to do. He goes there. Now this story, interestingly, is not there in either the Shiv Puran or in the Bhagavad Puran or in the Devi Bhagavat, from which, or in the Rāmacaritamānasa, but it comes up in the Devi Bhagavat. Sati chali gayi, Shivji ka haal kya hua? वो कहानी देवी भागवत में आती है, and we will conclude with that. This is what happens. Shivji, after all that destruction has been done, Sati has kept the Chandramauli Shiva with a moon on his head in her heart. She is burning. You can see flames coming out of her body. The body has burnt and has started browning. The fingers have kind of curved in. She is painted red because of fire. The smoke is rising out. Even Shivji can't touch her. He picks her on his Trishul and he starts walking the realms of the earth, saying, this is my torment. And he is in an absolute wrath. He does not know what to do. This story that I'm telling you now is not from the Rāmacaritamānasa or the Bhagavat Puran, but it's from the Devi Bhagavat. He's walking like this with the body of Sati pierced into his Trishul because she's dead and hot and burning. And he's going all over the earth saying, I'm angry. I don't know what to do. And then Vishnu comes and cuts off her body into 108 pieces. And then Shivji realizes that she's no more. She's dead. And he quietens down. Those pieces of burnt doubt that fall on 108 places of the earth in India are the Shakti Pithas. So some say there are 51 Shakti Pithas, some say there are 52 Shakti Pithas, but the Devi Bhagavata talks of the disc cutting her body into 108 pieces to calm Shivji down, to shaking up, saying, what are you doing? She's no more. She's burnt dead. Get back to your senses. Shivji calms down, goes into a meditation, which is why the territory of India is subsumed with spirituality, because the doubt that is represented by Sati has fallen back as burnt cinders and buried in the land of India. There is no place for doubt. It is a spiritual land in many ways. This is one such way. So with this very poignant and beautiful cycle of Sati Daha, we will stop for the day. Any last questions?
Can I?
Yeah.
I just want to say beautifully, बहुत ही अच्छा आपने आज बताया. I mean, even though I know, but the rendition was just बहुत अच्छा था आज. The first photograph that you showed, जिसमें वीरभद्रा आए हैं, उनमें he is holding a कमल का फूल. Do you know if there is any significance of that in one of his hands?
He's holding a what?
Kamal ka
Kamal.
फूल.
Yeah, I mean, the secondary literature around it says that it is basically to show that these tattvas, Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, they are all representing the same divinity. They can carry each other's devices interchangeably.
Okay.
So we don't have to have these exclusive claims of purely Shaiva and at the exclusion of Vaishnavas or vice versa. This is also covered in the Manas many times over, that, you know, the Param Bhakta of Vishnu is Shiva and the Param Bhakta of Shiva is Vishnu, because they represent the same divinity within. So this is the cycle of Sati in its right context. It is often misinterpreted, misunderstood. And remember that it is doubt. The cinders of doubt are buried in the landmass of India. The geography of India is the footprint of her pilgrims, and hence it is a spiritual territory. It is a land of Shraddha and Vishwas, because, you know, the Shakti Pithas are the buried cinders of doubt of Sati, and she's reborn as Vishwas Parvati. Yeah, Sajali.
Very quickly, just some thoughts coming from the study of Vedanta. When Shivji says, "Look, you have agency, so do what you want." For me, agency was like, okay, so even in that story, he's saying, "Look, I've told you what needs to be done, but then you have free will, so move as you please." And these are just some thoughts there, linkages there. And now when Satiji is facing the mortal side, like you've repeated multiple times, we're seeing envy, remorse, all kinds of emotional hijack. You know, the Raga Dvesha, I'm just seeing that whole thing being played out. It's easier to see it there than all the time in oneself, including Daksha, where he's holding grudges and arrogance, and you said, you know, falling on deaf ears. So it's that whole thing which is depicted more, in a different language in the Upanishad.
It's made accessible by personifying all these qualities. Yeah. And it also clearly states that we cannot push these things under the carpet. Aaj main mera mat thoda chhod deta hu. You have to nip it in the bud. You can't allow it to grow. So Daksha has to be beheaded. Sati has to die. So again, it's not about the death of a woman. A man, her father is also killed. He's beheaded. Then there's a story in which Shivji forgives him. He's born again. Sati comes back as Parvati. So everything is hunky-dory. But as I said, it's a very poignant cycle, this whole Sati cycle. Just imagine, you know, the mood with which we started. All the gods going, can I go? And where it ended. It's so dramatic. This whole roller coaster of emotions that happens in this Sati cycle is quite mind-boggling.
And then yet, there's no melodrama around it. I mean, he's just sort of almost observing and stating. But having said that, I think, I don't know whether the block was 59 or 60, where you said it's been 27,000 years or 1720,000, whichever way it is. When Shivji opens his eyes and says, okay, come sit across me. And so, I mean, just a thought that she's looking at Brahmaji and saying, oh, that's not an appropriate punishment for what I have done. But it can also be that Brahmaji knows Shivji's resolve around it and his thought, and he's only respecting that actually. Because he's the one who initiated that thought saying, oh, now I cannot look at her as my wife. So, I mean, I said...
Yeah, it's all interlinked. So the moment she says, Ram, do what is necessary to get me out of this sorrow, the whole play starts beginning. She's distracted, she's taken there, she's angry, and she burns. And whatever she had wished for as an appropriate punishment is given, and the cycle is closed. All right, so we'll just conclude with our prayer. Yatra yatra raghunath kirtanam तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिम् बाष्पवारी परिपूर्णलोचनम् मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम्.
Thank you, Santosh. Lovely class.